Well, I did a whole intro, and I also played a little bit, and I was talking to you guys for about 3 minutes, and the go live YouTube button wasn't hit. Even though I told you I wanted to go live, then I went to OBS and went live. OBS asked me if I was sure I wanted to go live, then I hit live. And then I forgot YouTube, when it starts receiving the stream, guess what? It wants to know again if you want to go live. So that would be why you guys got absolutely nothing there for a little while. I don't even know what you guys saw. My video monitor in the other room was doing other things, and she wasn't there, so I had no clue that the thing wasn't live. I don't even know if it's live now. Is it still not working?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay. So what'd you guys do this week? Someone sees it. There's a new box in the room. Right there. Yes. There's a new box in the room. But since I spent all this time going through all this stuff, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unwind my headphones. And we are going to try this whole entry again, since it seems that you guys didn't hear any of it. And my headphone cable is just turned into a rat's nest. I'm not really sure what causes that. Now it's just spinning on the floor. All right. Well, Devastator, I was already giving Devastator credit. I don't even think that come through the stream. It was probably Tuesday night. Everything in OBS changed. So no, it's 100% my fault. But that's happened a couple times. I keep forgetting when YouTube starts receiving the stream from OBS, it asks you again if you're sure you want to go live, which both programs do it. You hit live, and then when it connects to the other software, it says, are you sure? So you hit yes, and then the other software that sent the stream key to OBS, once it sees OBS, then it asks you, are you sure you want to go live? So you gotta live, then you go live on OBS, and then OBS asks, are you sure? Because it's seeing the YouTube stream. You think you're streaming, you're not. You still got to go back to YouTube. Once it starts receiving it 10 seconds later, then you hit stream again. I'm really confused on that. That may be something that I have wrong in the settings. But I do want to do something, and no, I can't actually start this. I do have a Multu MIDI sequencer down here, and I did not have time. I do have it hooked up to the Akai, but I don't have my MIDI foot controller hooked up. So I really can't do anything with the MIDI foot controller and getting things to actually run yet. But Devastator and I did track down a couple problems in OBS. And one of the things we did work on, we got some files. I did find a couple old files on the Akai. I can't find most of my work. I did look for it the night afterwards. But I just want to run the Akai one time and kind of show you guys what we worked on as far as getting multiple instruments on the stream. Now, when I get this actually set up, I'll be able to do 4 clicks, and then I'll know where it comes in. There's no clicks, so I'm going to have to let it go through. I think it's either 4 bars or 8 bars before I can actually start playing. And it's nothing simple, nothing complicated, guys. I'm still waiting for my furnace to cut off. That's what all the background hum that you guys hear is. I'm really not understanding why it won't cut off. The blower just keeps running, even though I've turned the furnace off and it's 78 degrees in the house. And it won't stop running. It's just blowing heat out left and right. So I think something's going on with my furnace. This is the third time it's done that. So what do you guys think? I didn't spend much time on that. Like I said, it was already a pre-programmed loop. So it was just something that I was able to throw together. So some of the changes that Devastator and I worked on, if you remember the last stream, we actually had a really bad echo, a loop going on. And I guess actually with all this background noise, it would probably actually be a good time for me to actually try to set the gate. I don't know. I can't tell if that's making a difference or not. Is that any better, guys, as far as the noise? No, once I get the levels back up, it just continues to crank out the noise. Let me try to turn the furnace blower off one more time. Yeah, every time it cuts off, it just turns right back on. So, I don't know, I guess I could go downstairs and trip the breaker. Not really sure what's going on with it. Well, it's been off for 15 minutes. It keeps running. Yeah, I got the AC blowing here. How hot is it there, Jerry? I'm sure you're southern state, so it got up to about 60 here today. Oh, Devastator's got the AC on too. Oh my gosh. Hey, Mr. Jupe. I was getting ready to. Now there it cut off. I don't know about that thing, but it didn't cut off until I'm like. Now I need to turn it back on to get the AC working. This is horrible. Mr. Jupe, look what showed up about 15 minutes after we sent you the email. I just didn't send you another email saying, don't worry about a tracking number. It just came.
No, I did.
Linnell said she sent you an email saying that we got it. Yeah, so we did get it. But I'm not going to open the box until Saturday. I have no idea if it was in a cold warehouse or where it was. So I'm going to leave it in the box until Saturday. And maybe the Saturday night stream, we'll do an open box on it. We'll go over Jupe. This is Jupe's guitar that was sent here for repair. So I know it's got some tremolo issues. And I think there's some pickups in the box and some other goodies in the box that he put in the box. So we're going to be doing some hot rod videos on Mr. Jupe Schechter over here. And I see Time Surfing Alien has joined the group. Good to see Time Surfing Alien. I think he's missed a couple shows. I was kind of worried. Yeah, it's right there, Mr. Jupe. So tonight's show, we were going to I was going to review some stuff, and then I thought it would be better to maybe go over some positives and negatives as far as pedals. And I got a ton of pedals here. Let me show you my first little pedal. I actually used this pedal for quite some time. This is the New X Edge. And it's a funny little pedal. It has analog and delay. And supposedly when you push down and hold it, it'll go from digital delay to an analog delay. One thing about this pedal, getting it to switch from analog to digital and then back to analog, it's kind of hit and miss. The little light, I believe, in digital is blue, and then it goes green in analog. I really like the analog sound if you can get it over to the analog settings. I think this pedal come from Shenandoah Music, and you guys can see here Shenandoah Music, $79. Nice little pedal. I do like this pedal. I got another delay pedal down here. I have a Yo-Yo. This one's a digital delay. And most digital delays have a real strange artifact, and I'm not a really big fan of most digital delays. This one has that artifact. Again, this is about a $35 pedal though. So you can buy two of the Yo-Yos for the price of the New X. So that's a digital delay. We'll probably listen to this one a little bit tonight. As far as other delays, I do have now this is a strange one. I'll go ahead and get this one down. We're not going to test it. This one, unless you have, this is a digital delay dual. You can go from space mod. It has a looper, analog, tape. It has all kinds of things going on in it. It is overly complicated. If you're into pedals and you're like a bunch of bells and whistles, this one's about $70, and it does a bunch of stuff. It just seems to be over the top, though, on everything it does. And this is the D-Speed 2. Little too much. I do have another Yo-Yo, a classic flanger. And the flanger, which this one is, and the chorus, they both work well. They're both Yo-Yo pedals. They work well until you try to put too much in, and then the pedal starts getting noisy. It does okay though. Again, like I said, we're talking a $35 pedal. So the flanger is not too horrible. And then I also have a very simple chorus. And all these are mono effects. The chorus, the flanger, they're mono. So they're inexpensive pedals. I guess it's been some time now. I was going to do a whole series on budget pedals, trying to build a budget rig. And I got about this far into it. I also have some distortion pedals down here. And then I realized once you added it all up, there was no way to even get an inexpensive amp and have less money in the amp and the pedals than it was just to go out and buy a $400 modeling amp. So it really wasn't a good way of getting into a budget system, if that makes sense. Now, my favorite distortion from this company is the Dr. J Lancelot distortion. This works really well into like a regular tube amp going in on the distortion channel, and you use this like a boost into the other channel, or you can mix your distortion here into a clean channel and just give it a little bit of edge. This one actually works really well. This is my favorite. It's made by Yo-Yo. And I thought at the time it was one of their newer products. This is actually an older product from them. But if you can find it, it's called a Lancelot. It's a sharp pedal. Now, I did try to plug the Lancelot in front of the line 6, okay? And it seemed like there was a tremendous amount of noise doing it that way. But when you plug it into a tube amp like my rack unit, it doesn't seem to be that noisy. So I don't really know what's going on there. But it does seem to create a little bit of noise going into the line 6. Another good distortion pedal, it's not high gain by any means, is the Yo-Yo American. Again, another great pedal if you're going into the front side of a solid state or tube amp. Give it just a little bit more something something. I like this pedal. And last but not least, well actually it's not the last, I got several more up there. We got the Yo-Yo Extreme. This one sounds like a dual rectifier. Even in its minimum settings, it's a lot of distortion. So if you want like a hair distortion, you're not going to get it out. If you want blues distortion, you're not going to get it out of it. If you're wanting dual rectifier, cut your head off distortion, this might be the one for you. It sounds like a little dual rectifier in a box. And then I'll show you my last pedal, because I'm not a big pedal person. And you guys were probably wondering where it's at, and yes, I do have one. The Ibanez TS9. This is just the go-to pedal. They've been making them for 30 years. It's just the Tube Screamer from Ibanez will always be a great pedal. You know, they can try to reinvent the wheel all you want. This is still the original one. You take this thing, put it in front of a JCM 800, and you've got a monster. I mean, they did it for years. The little TS9 in front of a JCM 800 kicks ass. It's just a great combination. Be surprised how many artists in the 80s did that with the TS9. And then my last pedal, which everyone's always seen, I have my strobe tuner. And this, believe it or not, is my most expensive pedal because it is a very accurate strobe tuner. I think this one was like $250 just for this tuner. But I use it for my guitar work, so I needed a very accurate tuner. And if you get any more accurate than that, you got to go to the rack mount, and it's like $1,600. I wasn't going to spend $1,600 on a tuner. So that's what our poll question is. If you all go up and look at the polls, you can see there's modeler, rack effects, pedals, or if you're using a modeler preamp. Now, I really don't, I guess I fall under rack effects. I actually have a tube preamp DSP unit. That's what my ART is. That is the Peterson strobe tuner. It is a good one. This one is the Strobe Stomp HD. I think they have come down in price. You might be able to find one of these for $150 now. I don't really know what they go. Yeah, and it'll do alternative tunings. It'll do graduated tunings. You can get it. You can set it for cents to tell you how many cents off you are when you're doing bench work on your guitar. Let's say if you want to stay within 3 cents, it'll tell you. It'll alarm. Okay, you're within 3 cents of your bass tune. It's actually a really nice tuner. It has way more features than I use. And the accuracy of it with the strobe, everyone's seen my reviews with it. It's extremely accurate. But going back to what I was saying, my unit is a hybrid. It's a combo. It's a tube amp with a digital signal processor built into it. So we have pedals, rack effects, which I'm using rack effects as well, just a modeler. And the reason I put that on there, I guess the modeler would just be like a line 6, or maybe you got a Tone X or something like that. And then the modeler effects combo unit, I would call that like a Helix floor model. What's the other? Quad Cortex, something like that. And then I guess also The Axe Effects Rack Mount FX3 would still technically be. There's so many different ways of going about it. It looks like right now about 45% of you are doing modeling. And then only 27 at model or effects combo, and 27 using pedals. So it seems like I'm the only person here using rack effects, but that's okay. The drums that you all heard earlier are sampled drums from the Akai MPC Key 61 going into a rack mount effects unit. And that rack mount effects unit is a Digitech Studio 200, and that's what give it, if you listen, there is reverb, delay, and compression on that. So all the effects on those drums that you're hearing are going through the Digitech Stereo S200. Very little compression. I didn't have too much time to. I can dial in the effects on the Akai drums, and I really can. Once you put them in a mix, they sound like real drums. They do really well. I actually have a rack mount spectrum analyzer that I could run them through and take out some of the artificial tones that are there. But you can EQ them out and really make them sound awesome. So that's where our poll is setting out right now. And I guess let's actually plug some stuff in here.
Jupe says he uses a Line 6 Helix LT.
The Helix LT, is that the floor, the small floor unit with it has a like a volume pedal, expression pedal? I know they got the big one that has the expression. I think they make a smaller one too.
Kurt Scale said he sold most of his rack stuff.
Yeah, I kept it. I mean, if I sold my Digitech Studios, I would be lucky to get 100, 150 a piece for them. That's just how things are. I have two of them. So for $300, I'll just keep them. When I'm doing mixes and I don't want a dry signal, I have them set up on AUX 1 and AUX 2 on the Mackie. So I can just the signal through AUX to one of those processors, and the return comes back on channel 16, 15, 14, and 13. So I get a stereo return. Well, I have a stereo out because most of them are set up that way. AUX 1 is stereo, AUX 2 is stereo. So I just use it in that way for wet dry mix. It's $300. I can't. It's not worth $300. I get more use out of them running them that way through the board than the $300. Just like I have a Tascam DA30 down here. It's probably worthless because I can't think of anyone that still uses DAT. So I just keep it at this point. It's not even worth the hassle on selling it, if that makes sense. I do have a power cord down here, and I guess I need to get my headphones on. And we're going to look at the line 6 over here. I can go through on the line 6, and we can take the distortion out. So if I go over to the line 6 here, I'm going to turn it on. Let me roll over to the distortion. I think that's the only distortion on it. Alright, so now that I have the distortion off on the line 6, let's Let's take our little Lancelot pedal here. And I'm gonna plug this thing up. I guess I need another guitar cable, don't I? 1 second, I'm gonna grab the guitar cable over there. Like I said, I tried this experiment once before with the Line 6 stomp, and it seemed like it didn't really care for things in front of the pedal. So let's give it one more whirl here. Plug that into the guitar. So there's just the Line 6. I guess I need to increase the output. And we have a gain control. Let's turn our gain up to 50%. I do have another camera, so let me get that camera over here, and I'll face it down towards the mess that I have on the floor here. So we can see I've got the guitar here plugged into the Lancelot. So that's distortion. No distortion. Now this over here is boost. So if I turn the distortion on, now let's do that, and I'm going to hit the boost. That's a lot of boost. Let's cut that back. Now that's at 50% gain. Let's give it a little bit more gain. Now we could change the clipping diode here. So if I change the clipping diode, and it instantly gets a lot louder. I kind of like it better on the other one. Now you can start to hear we're getting a little noise now. Now this knob is for tone, so I'm going to set the tone at 50%. Let's go back to the other clipping diode. I'm going to turn the output back because it got a lot louder last time. So we turn the boost off. You can hear it got a little quieter too. Don't think it has too much more in it, but we'll turn the gain up. I'm a little past 75%. So let's switch over to the other clipping diode. Let's give it a little bit more tone. You can hear the difference on that clipping diode when you go to boost. It gets quite noisy. So let's go to our next pedal. That's the Lancelot pedal. That was this pedal right here. I actually like this one. Like I said, I think its sweet spot is to go in front of a tube amp or a solid state amp and use this to boost the circuit, the tube circuit. This one worked really well into my SGX 2000. It wasn't noisy because we wasn't getting way over. It seemed like this, once you pass 75%, that's when the noise starts kicking in on this pedal. So anything over 75% is just you're introducing noise. So the next distortion pedal we have would be this American. And if I remember, this pedal was more, I would say, early 80s, 70s. And I wouldn't say it would be more, it would be a lighter rock and roll, like a blues rock type pedal. So let's plug this one in and see what we can get out of this pedal. I'm going to set the high, mid, and low all at 50%. Set the level at 50%. Set the voice at 50%. And we're going to set the drive at 50%. So everything's all 50%. And I'm going to engage the channel. And that's with nothing on. the line 6 is engaged, so we're going to turn the pedal on. I'm not really hearing any noise, so let's see what it sounds like at 50%. And this would be off. So you can tell it's a completely different kind of distortion. Like I said, that's at 50%. So if we do a mid cut, let's cut the mid and boost the low and high just a little bit. So our mid is at like, let's say 11 o'clock, low's at 1, and high is at 1. I do like this pedal. One, it's quiet. Now, you're not going to get high gains out of this pedal. I know we're only at 50%, but it does the rockabilly blues stuff well. Let's give it a little bit more drive. I'm going to run the drive up to about 2 o'clock on the drive. Let's do the exact opposite. Let's cut our lows back and let's kick our mids up. Mids are back at 50%. Doing the exact opposite. We're going to do lows at 11, mid at 12, and high at 11. Gonna bring the level up. Now it does have a voice control. I'm going to switch cameras here. This knob right here in the center is for voice. We were at 50%. Let's turn the voice up to 75%. And it changes the voicing. Now we're going to go to, let's say the 9 o'clock position. I think that if you turn the drive back to 50%, I think that would be a good blues. I really need to put new strings on this guitar. So that's the Joe American. Out of all of them, this pedal I think would be a good addition to someone that's recording, especially if you've got like the Egnator over there. This pedal does really well in the Egnator. It gives it the exact same basic sounds that line 6 is doing here. I don't know if the drums would fit that or not. Let's try that. It actually has a really good sound. And guys, I'm just throwing this together. Anything that you get ideas and you can just kind of throw together really quick and get it to sound that good, at least it sounds good on my side. That's in the mix, that sounds awesome. A lot of times you can have a really good sound in the room, but when you start adding layers like the bass guitar, you start adding the drums, the guitar has to have its own little spot in the mix. So you have to remember that when you're making your sound. Is it going to cut through the mix? Is it going to get lost when the bass player cuts in? Is it going to get lost when the drums kick in as far as the snare, the toms? So you got to remember when you're setting up your sound to try to remember there's other instruments there. You've got your little area that your guitar needs to be in. Not saying that you can't break that rule, but if you start getting down a little lower, you end up getting in with the bass player. Some of your notes end up getting lost. I think that's a great sounding pedal. If you're wanting to do that type of sound. I don't play a lot of that style of music. Everyone knows I play more late 80s, early 90s stuff. But when I do play that kind, I usually grab this pedal and I run it through my Egnator, and it sounds really good. So I'm going to turn off channel 3 here, and we're going to go to the next one. And this is the Yo-Yo American. So I'm going to set this up so everyone can see it. This is the pedal we were just demoing. And it's like $35 on Amazon, guys. My Amazon affiliate links. Been reaching out to Amazon now for like 4 months. It is screwed up. Something to do with the taxes in Canada. I have no idea. I didn't know if... I have no idea. We're playing email tag. And so far I haven't got it fixed. But if y'all go to Amazon... Amazon only gives me 2 to 3% max. It's usually about 2%. So on a $30 pedal, it's going to be like $1, if that. So go pick this guy up if that's the kind of music you want. It's a very clean pedal. It doesn't make a lot of hum. You do have low, mid, high. This is the voice. And the voice control actually does quite a bit. Hopefully you guys could see that. And then drive. And the level. I had the level all the way up to 75%, and this pedal was still quiet. So I think Yo-Yo knocked it out of the park on this one as far as quality and the sound that you can get out of this. It's not a noise box, if that makes sense. So this one, in my opinion, is a winner. We'll set this one over here. Now the one distortion pedal you may or may not like. This one is like they tried to do a rectifier type thing with it. So I don't know, anyone here play rectifiers, like a Mesa Boogie rectifier or anything of that nature? This pedal was designed to do the rectifier thing. Do I think it does it? Sort of. The old saying, nothing sounds like a rectifier other than a rectifier, but it does give you that really deep, modern tone, if that makes sense. It's not a tone that I necessarily go for a lot, but I do think it gives that to you. I'm not a metal guy. If you guys play that style of music, you can kind of listen to this one and see if it gets there. But we'll start at the exact same position. We're going to start everything out at 50%. Everything's at 50%. And I guess the first thing to find out is it going to introduce any hum to the signal path? I watch these channels on YouTube, and you immediately, they roll back the volume as soon as they hit the last note. I'm not saying that's a bad habit to get into. It's probably a good habit to get into. But they're doing that because their amplifier is just so noisy. And I got a mahogany splinter in my finger, and it has been bugging me all day. Mahogany is a very splintery wood when you're shaping it. I think I got it. I was doing mahogany today, guys. We're done with the teak for right now. We've moved on to mahogany. So I've got it plugged in. So I'm going to turn channel 3 back on. Here's the line 6. So everything's at 50%. Let's turn the distortion on. And you can immediately hear the hum. Okay, at 50%, this is the distortion. Everything's at 50%. Now you can hear that the volume level has dropped. Let me cut it off. These strings are past dead. So I'm going to turn the level up until we get about the same level. And that drives at 50%, and you can hear the noise. That's off. Again. Now I'm rolling the volume back. See? It's just a lot of noise. So I just engaged the boost. It just doesn't, it's just a lot of noise. Now, I'm not going to say certain things play well with certain things. This pedal just does not seem to play well with the Line 6. That's without the boost. In my opinion, it's just too much noise. It's just too noisy, guys.
Does the Line 6 have a noise gate?
The Line 6 does have a noise gate. I am doing this without the noise gate. Could you clean it up with a noise gate? Listen to this. That's asking a tremendous amount out of a noise gate. I'm doing this showing you all exactly what it sounds like. The only thing on the Line 6 HX Stomp is a little delay and a little reverb. No gate, no compression, no distortion. I am using it's the Marshall wannabe modeled amp and a 212 cabinet hour. But when you engage the pedal, boost, it's just too much, if that makes sense. Here's clean. Now I'm just going to turn the pedal on. Some people might say that's the transformer issue. Either way, you're going to have problems with it in your pedal board because you're going to have a transformer there. In my opinion, it's just a little too noisy. Could you get some of that out and detune it down? Maybe run 50%, on the gain. I think there'd be better. This channel's about truth, guys. Remember, I'm not blowing smoke up any company's butt just to sell something. Plus, I don't get any commission off this stuff anyway. I think even at 30 some dollars, I wouldn't buy it. It's just a little too noisy. That's the Joyo Extreme. I think if you spent 60, 70, you might be able to get something that's more controllable. It's not going to hum like that. That's got to be something in the circuitry that is not shielded properly, making it do that. Because the other distortion pedal they make, now granted, it's not near as much distortion, but it doesn't make any noise at all. This is what a distortion pedal should do. It should be shielded, designed to not introduce that much noise. That's just my opinion. If you guys think that you can live with that much noise when you first cut it on, and you like that kind of distortion, that's the Joyo Extreme. For me, I think if you put a mic in front of a cabinet, you would have to EQ so much of your high out, and the gate would cut so much of your first note off, and you would have to collapse right on the back side of your gate. I don't see this being a usable pedal for what its intended purposes. Now, if you turn the drive, well, we only had it at 50%. If you turn it back, it's still a lot of distortion. There is no in-between distortion with this pedal. It's a lot to insane amount, if that makes sense. So that's that one. I guess we could try the Ibanez TS9, since that does seem to be the industry standard. And I have not run any of these pedals into the Line 6. So we are finding out together whether or not they play well with the Line 6 or they don't play well with the Line 6. So I'm going to put, again, everything at 50% on the Ibanez. And this is kind of like what everyone goes to, the Ibanez Tube Screamer. And that's the Ibanez on. And you can hear that it is cutting the volume a little bit at 50%. So we do need to give it a little bit more volume. And the dark green, it's hard to read. So level, let's turn the level up to about 2 o'clock. So that's the level at 2 o'clock. And remember, guys, most people use the TS9 to boost into their tube preamp. Everyone talks about, the gain of the TS9. The TS9 really doesn't have a lot of gain. Most people used it as a boost pedal to overdrive their first stage in their JCM 800. So let's turn the drive up to like 75% and see what we get. That's at 75%. Now, let's try something we haven't tried on the other pedals. I am going to re-engage the distortion on the line 6. That's the line 6 hum that you're hearing with the stock distortion on the line 6. So I'm taking some of the drive out. We're going to put the drive on the line 6 at 3. Alright, that's line 6 drive at 3. Sorry, I had the TS9 on during that, so that's our line 6 with distortion on 3. So let's turn the line 6 distortion back up. Let's bring it back up to, let's say, 7. So here's the line 6 distortion at 7. Now let's try to get something similar to that, but let's try to boost the line 6. So I'm going to bring it down to 3. Now we're going to use the TS9, which has the gain set at 50%. So now, and you can hear when I cut it on. Off, on, off, on. So let's see what we got with it on. It's added a lot of high harmonic noise. I guess it's picking up more of my pick attack. That's a tremendous amount of gain, guys. I think we can actually cut some of that back. So I now have the gain turned down to the 9 o'clock position. I think you guys can see why the TS9, it's hard to beat. Does it create a lot of distortion by itself? I think a lot of people buy it and they think, oh, it's an awesome distortion pedal. I think where the TS9 shines is boosting another distortion circuit, if that makes sense. There's so many, even though it only has 3 controls, there's so many different voicings that you can get out when you start stacking preamps. The TS9 just works really well doing that. That was the TS9, and like I said, I turned the line 6 back. I do know that this pedal here does it well too, but it's a completely different sound. This is still going to be more of a classic rock sound, bluesy classic rock. I think the Ibanez can get down to that sound. It's a little bit more drive, but it's definitely more 80s on the TS9. I don't know if you can get into the 90s on it, like the grunge. I don't think the TS9 would get you into the grunge stage. But if you're wanting one pedal to kind of do both, I think the TS9 would be the pedal of choice if you wanted to maybe do some CCR and then turn around and do some Poison. I think the TS9 could definitely do that for you once you get your preamp stage set right on your amplifier. So I'm going to turn number 3 off. So that's all well, it's not all the distortion pedals I have. We do have one of Linnell's distortion pedals, but I have not plugged it in. It's a metal zone. So I don't think I want to plug that thing in and actually see if it actually still works. It's we found it at our dad's house, and it had been at our dad's house for like 10 years evidently, just sitting in the corner. So I have no idea if it even works. So that's our distortion thing. We'll come back and we'll kind of go over some of these other pedals. But that's the 4 distortion pedals for review. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the chat, guys. So now I'm going to look right now at the chat and see thumbs up on if you like that little demonstration, or we should never, ever, ever have pedals on the channel again. I'm not a pedal guy. And like I said, if you use pedals, that's fine. This is what it's about. If you're wanting just a boost pedal, in my opinion, out of all these, I would do the TS9 or the Yo-Yo American. There are 50,000 different boost pedals out there. There are so many different, like I see Scenario come up. There's so many different scenarios on it, exactly. The DS1 Boss pedal, that's another great pedal. If you're wanting to do that type signal path. I'm going to take these off because my ears are on fire. It's amazing how hot my ears get underneath these things. They're like winter muffins for your ears. I got a thumbs up from Designator, so we're good. All right, guys, I think I'm going to take a little break. I have to use the restroom, and that also gives me an excuse to do our intermission window, because it's all about the intermission window. I don't know which one this is. I have break scene and intermission. So we're going to try intermission. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Okay, guys. I come out of the restroom. I went into the kitchen. I got me a glass of tea. Probably the worst thing to drink after you've been talking so much. Tea actually makes you more thirsty. Um, Linnell caught me up to speed. Yeah, she likes to tease you guys. That thing sits there right in main view, right there. That little guy. She put her amp over here too, right there. I actually like that little amp, guys. It where it's at now, it needs to be about 10 inches away from the back wall in something flat, and the imaging out of that amp is just stupid. Um, it's a nice little amp.
Your intermission screen is still on. There we go. Never mind.
Yep. Linnell just told me my intermission screen was still on, but there's like a long delay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The YouTube delay really messes with us some nights. But that amp has got great imaging. And I know it's like $329. And at the 329 mark, that puts you at the Katana level. I think the Katana's a great amp, but if you want a stereo amplifier, I don't think there's anything really at the 329 price mark with Bluetooth and everything like that. Um, so if you want a little stereo amp, this thing is really kind of neat little amplifier. I kind of like that thing. The more I dabble in some of this new stuff, uh, the more I'm kind of impressed with it. I'm impressed because of the sound that you get and the dollar amount. Um, that amp is not super loud. It's not like my rack amp by any means. But when I'm playing in here, that little guy will get loud enough. Very rarely do I turn my tube amp up. I mean, turn it up. And when I do turn it up, I don't play it for more than 5 minutes like that. Usually in the room, maximum I ever get my amp in the room is about 105 dB. I know that little amplifier wouldn't do it, but I guarantee you that little amplifier would put it in the 90s. I guarantee you I could get my decibel meter to go in at about 90 with that little amplifier. I think it's at 10 watts. It's either 10 or 20 watts. I think it's 10 watts. I don't remember. It's not much, but it's an impressive little amp. Well, everyone seems to be. I got also told that y'all were talking about Jupe's guitar. I would take it out of the box, but Jupe lives in a completely different climate than I live in. One. Two, it spent the last 2 days in shipping. So we have no idea if it sat in a truck, out in a cold warehouse, or whether, we don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it. So I want the guitar to set in the box for at least 2 days. It got here today about 4:30, 4:45. So we'll probably unbox it on Saturday night. And everyone can get to see what Jupe sent me. And we'll kind of talk about what we're doing with the guitar. And I won't unbox it. I'll leave it just as it is. And we'll unbox it live. But talking to Jupe back and forth, I know there's some pickup stuff. We're going to work on the tremolo. We're going to go through the frets. Double check all the frets on the guitar. Just give it a good once over. I know we're going to do a pure tone jack. I don't ever go into guitar and do electronics unless we do a pure tone jack. So it'll get a pure tone jack on it. And then I'm going to look at the tremolo and actually see what's justifiable on the tremolo. We talked, and I know it was saddles, most likely the heavy, like L-shaped brass block, and possibly a turbo arm. I like the turbo arms. They take a lot of the slop out. But the big thing, I need to take the tremolo apart and look at the knife edges. And it's probably going to need an FR1000 base plate to make it a reliable tremolo. Because the base plate on the FR Special is just soft.
He put in the comments that he's having the bridge pickup replaced with a Jason Becker perpetual burn pickup.
I got to switch over to the Yeah. Linnell was talking to me about what you had put in the comments, Jupe. So that's was it Jason Becker?
Yeah, perpetual burn pickup.
Yeah, the Jason Becker pickup. Jason Becker, awesome guitarist, 100%. And I see Jerry's put on fire like Hendrix. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Yeah, we're talking about Birdman. We got that's Jupe's guitar right there. That's the Schecter that I don't know when Birdman came into the conversation, but if you scroll back in the chat, they've been talking about Jupe's guitar, and that's Jupe's guitar that he just sent me. So I'm gonna kind of scroll back. Jupe says he has a Katana MK2 100. I had a Mach 2 Katana, but I think mine was the 50 watt with the 12-inch speaker. I actually kind of regret selling that amp. I used to take that amp. Well, I took that amp. We went out on a wedding trip, and I took that amp and my headless guitar. And on that trip, I bought the Epiphone Dot, and I was outside playing on a porch. And that little amplifier really did well outside. Some amplifiers, it seems like when you take them outside, they just lose their bottom end. They lose their definition. It's like they get lost in all the air. That little Katana did really well. I set it on top of a picnic table on the front porch of that little cabin facing the river, and I heard no audible difference between it being outside. It still felt full and lively. It didn't sound dead and lifeless like some amplifiers get when you take them outside. It was a really impressive amp. I sold it because I already had the Black Star, the one that doesn't work anymore, and I had the Agnator, and I'm kind of like, well, okay, well, if I go somewhere, I'll just take my Line 6 Stomp. But now I kind of regret getting rid of it. The amp wasn't heavy and it wasn't that large. Who knows? I might end up getting a new MK3 Katana, but it'll be a 50 watt again. I'm not going to do a 100 watt. I'll do a 50 watt. But I've been thinking about it. I don't know. Right now I think they're at like $349 for the amp on the 50 watt. And they fixed the one problem I had with the Mach 2 was not being able to get in and fine tune all the things on the amplifier without plugging it in to a computer. The new one has a Bluetooth thing that plugs into the back of it, and you can make the changes right on your phone. So if I go on a trip, I don't need a computer. I can just plug my phone into it. I can change all my little settings. So it's going to fix the one problem that I had with it. Jupe says he uses his Helix and run it just through my studio monitor. Much cleaner sound. Yeah, when I use the Line 6, guys, when I'm sitting here just jamming, let's turn the drive back up because I've just connected the distortion pedals. So I'm going to turn the drive up to, let's say, 6. I don't have the guitar plugged in right now. Let me plug the guitar in. These strings are so old, they're black. I don't know if you guys can see that. The strings have literally turned black. These strings have been on this guitar, I'm going to guess a year and a half. So I have definitely gotten my $12 of use out of these strings. I think it's time for new ones. I think I'm going to put Super Slinkies on it. But when I do it, I'm going to put a piece of blue tape on the back of the guitar, and I'm going to write on it exactly what I put on it. That way, I'll have a reference on what I actually did. But Jupe, what you're talking about, it being cleaner, when I'm doing these live streams, I'm turning the amp on right now. Now, if I was using my tube amp, you guys would hear all kinds of room noise through this microphone here. But there's nothing. It's completely quiet. I can talk as I play, and I can't do that with the amplifier. I can sit here and just talk to you guys. like there's nothing at all going on. I'm going to give that just a little bit more bottom end. And I'm going to turn my bed down a little bit. It's just so convenient. I can sit here and just talk to you guys. Not even worry about what, this other microphone is picking up. So I think for doing live streams, this little line 6 for right now is going to be the way we do live streams. Not saying I dislike my tube amp. Maybe I can work something out. And I have several compressors, limiters, gates, a couple different channel strips in my rack unit here. I might take a day and run the SM57s into a limiter, maybe a gate, and see if I can clean up the open sort. Well, it's not even those mics, it's this mic. So I don't know if I could set the gate on this mic to where it would pick my voice up, but then eliminate that. And I kind of doubt it because it's an open cabinet. And as I talk, I usually hit 70 dB. Well, then the amplifier is going to hit 70 dB too. So I don't see where the limiter is going to do anything on this microphone with the open cabinet.
Niles wants to know if you checked out Reaper yet.
I have not checked out Reaper yet. I did look into a couple interfaces because technically, let me set this down. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but again, I want to thank Devastator, and I need to tell Jerry right now too. Jerry, in Skype, if you would send me the email address you use to log on to YouTube. I don't need your password. I just need your YouTube, your email that YouTube recognizes you as. And the reason for that is the other night, Devastator and I had a private live show. And when I set it up in YouTube, it needs to know if I do private, I have to enter in that person's email. Not their username in YouTube, but their email address. And what it does is it sends you a link. So you can, now Devastator can tell you more. I think what Devastator had to do is he had to click on that link and it took him to the video. I think that's how it works because it's a private video. So if you did that, Jerry, what we ended up doing is we went through OBS and we made a bunch of changes. The loop, like the delay problem we were having, I had two input sources coming from the Yamaha. I was new at all this. I had never used an actual interface. I was old school. I used hard disk, ADAT, and reel-to-reel. So I've never used a DAW. I've never used an interface. Even though it's only been about 2 months, I can already see that the AG08's done its task. It's gotten me familiar with how things kind of work. I think it still works for me. I can take this unit downstairs and I'm going to use it down in the shop. So when we do live streams and we're working on guitars, I can use this unit. But I think I'm going to get me just a 2-channel interface because I'm using, everything goes to the Mackie. The line 6 is going to the Mackie. The Akai is going to the Mackie. Everything now is going to the Mackie. And then I'm going out on monitor out of the Mackie to the, I technically not. This microphone here is still technically on one channel. But I could very easily run this microphone over to the Mackie with the channel strip and then just go monitor out to one channel to the AG08. So what I'm thinking of, just run everything to the Mackie, to a 2-channel interface right to the computer. I don't know. Well, we'll see. The Yamaha seems to be doing okay. It did just turn on the effects last week, and when we finally did turn off the effects, it had this little loop thing going on from the auxiliary return. But we fixed that. So what I was getting at, Jerry, is in the future, if we do another test stream, I could send you an email, and if you're available and you get the email, you can click on it and you can come in and help us out, fix things and arrange things. But that's what Devastator and I did at the beginning of the week. We did a lot of maintenance in OBS. And I see we got Ted Talks Guitars come in. Good to see you, Ted. And Honey Tap come in. And I did get your email, Ted. Anything that we can do, if I need to send you a couple bucks, I was going to mention something in the live stream about it, but since you're here, you can go ahead and put what's going on with this gentleman and his guitar. And I'm sure people here, if they have the extra funds or if they have a piece of equipment or something, you can tell them about the link on your channel and go to it. Now, Linnell might be able to copy the link in the email and post it, because I know Ted can't post the link. I don't know if you could try that, hon. Maybe copy the email link that Ted sent.
I can't get into your... Well, I can probably put it in the comment section after you're done.
Yeah, she's going to drop it in the comment section after we're done. Ted can fill you guys in on it, what's going on. But I did get the email. And for Ted and Handicap, that guitar right there, the Schecter, that's Jupe's guitar. It's here for service. Huh?
I said it's Honey Tap.
Honey Tap. That's what I said, wasn't it?
I thought you said Handicap.
She thought I said Handicap. I'm the Handicap guy. I know that.
Jupe had said that he thinks your rack stuff is a whole different scenario than going through YouTube. It's more like playing in arenas.
Let me take these things off. I can't hear what you're saying. What'd you say?
I said Jupe said he thinks your rack stuff is a whole different scenario than going through YouTube. It's more like for playing in arenas.
It is. It's I think guys do it. There's a gentleman on YouTube. I love his channel. I can't. And that's another thing about YouTube, guys. Double check you're subscribed to Ted. Double check your subscription to Honey Tap. Double check your subscription to Birdman. YouTube is awful for all of a sudden just removing you from someone that you subscribe to.
Mikey has to go.
Oh, Mikey's got to go. Later, Mikey. Good to have you in the group, man. We will be here Saturday. Hope to see you Saturday, Mike. But anyway, guys, go and check your subscriptions. Make sure YouTube has not canceled your subscription to Birdman, Honey Tap, and Ted, and everyone else. Because the channel I'm talking about, I've subscribed to him twice. Now, if I go under my subscriptions, he's not there. It's like YouTube unsubscribes me from him. And, sometimes I might not watch his channel for maybe 2-3 months. And it's like, well, if I don't watch a video after 3 months, it just automatically says, well, you're not interested in him anymore. And it just, no, it shouldn't work that way. If I want to unsubscribe, I need to hit the button. And YouTube has done that to me a couple times. Even Linnell has had to resubscribe to this channel. It just, poof, it's gone. So double check your subscriptions. Make sure you're still supporting the channels that you want to support. If you're not getting notifications, sometimes you have to unsubscribe and then resubscribe to start getting notifications again. Again, YouTube's bad. After a certain amount of time, it'll get to the point where it doesn't send you any notifications. The only way I've seen around that is unsubscribe, resubscribe, and then hit the bell.
Niles said it happened to him with your channel and about 5 other channels.
Yeah, see, Niles is saying the exact same thing happened. So, guys, after the stream, take 5 minutes, go through your subscription, make sure you're still subscribed to your favorite channels. All those little things really help YouTube. Okay, it really does. It helps. And if they're not sending you notifications, like I said, unsubscribe and then go right back and resubscribe and hit the bell. And you'll notice you'll start getting notifications again. It's so strange. You might still be subscribed and you're like, well, this guy put out 5 videos last month. I didn't get notified. And you're checking your notifications on. The only way I've seen to fix it is unsubscribe and then resubscribe. Just throwing it out there, guys. But yeah, going over pedals and stuff, I'm not going to hit these pedals. We still have 1, 2, 3. We still have 5 pedals to go over. We went over 4. So we did 4 little mini reviews, guys. We'll go over the other pedals later on. But I think unless you're really into pedals, I don't see, and this is just me, I don't see pedals being, maybe there's obscure pedals and they have just that something you want and you buy that one. But if you're looking at trying to get the best bang for your buck, there's so many decent multi-effects processors out there that do multiple things. And by the time you buy 5 or 6 pedals, you can afford a decent small effects unit that'll do all those, and then usually plus some. A good pedal, a good reverb pedal is $200. A good delay pedal is $200. It's just, now granted, we went over budget pedals, and the first thing you noticed when we did this one was a lot of noise. It's just too much noise, you can't use them. So with these multi-effects units, you can tie a lot of that stuff together and they're still quiet. So I know that I'm moving forward. My next piece of equipment will be a fractal. Now whether or not it's a VP4 and I just use it through my effects loop on my rack mount Synergy, I don't know. Or I get the FX3 and I use that as my everything unit. I can run one output to my power amp and I can run hours right out of it as a sim right into my board for YouTube. For me, I think that is going to be the best way of going. Like Jupe said it, the Helix does the exact same thing. What scares me about getting in the Helix architecture right now, it's been out for a while. Now, Line 6 does seem to be pretty good at backing their products, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Helix goes through a massive change in the next year or two. And my concern, if I dump $1,500 on a rack mount Helix, a year and a half from now, they come out with another product with new architecture, and then 2-3 years later, they stop supporting the rack mount Helix that I just bought. Axe Effect supports their products. They're still supporting, I believe, the Axe Effects 2, to my knowledge. I think they're pretty good as far as, it's so hard. You also got to make sure that the unit is programmable from its face. Anything that uses software, Windows, if that company stops supporting it and you update to Windows 15 whenever it comes out and they no longer support it, you're done. You're done right there. You're going to have to keep a computer that has Windows 11 on it or Windows 10 or Windows 12, whatever it was that they just last did their update for that particular software. You're going to be stuck. And if anything happens to it and you go to reload it and you need those new BIOS or patches, they're probably not going to be available anymore. That's what scares me about stuff like that. The Motul MIDI sequencer I have, the old one, non-supported anymore. Windows, I think it was Windows 10 was the last firmware update, and I couldn't use it. So I bought this new one, and I've yet to get it up and running because the architecture is so much different. It has a time clock in it, and I can use time signature codes per track to keep all my MIDI stuff in sync with one another. I've yet to actually get it to work yet. My old one worked fine, but it just won't work with my new Windows. When I updated the computer here, no new patches to make it work. So we got to think about that too. I don't want to buy something and in 5 years it becomes obsolete. It becomes a paperweight just simply because I got to program it via my computer screen. It has to go through a computer. So having a face screen, now it may not be convenient on the Axe effects. It's not, but you got to understand. I'm programming an SGX 2000. It has 2 lines of code, and it's all abbreviated stuff. So anything the Axe effects does on its face screen is going to be 500% better than what I'm used to programming, because my SGX does not plug into a computer. Everything has to be programmed on that little tiny screen on the face of the unit. I just don't want to be caught with something that in 2 years it becomes a paperweight. I don't know if that's happened to you guys or not, but with this new equipment, it's not the equipment that's going to go bad. Is the equipment going to be supported and something that we can still use our computers with? That's the key.
Jupe says he's eventually going to get with the Axe Effects 3.
I see it, but it's cut off here. Hold on.
It just says I'm eventually going with the Axe Effects 3.
Yeah, Jupe. I think the Axe Effects is the way to go. Kurt Inscale can weigh in on that for us. Anything that I've said that wouldn't be applicable to the Axe Effects 3, I think it is. I know it has 2 outputs, possibly 3, so I could definitely do that. I know there's software for the computer, and I know that you can program the unit from its face. So, worst case scenario, you could directly program everything right from the face of the unit.
Jerry says you don't necessarily have to upgrade Windows operating system. I know people still using XP and 7.
Yeah, I liked when I had XP Professional, and I actually liked XP Professional. I left Windows 2000 Server to XP Professional. I think XP Professional was great. I don't use regular Windows. The Windows I'm running here is a professional licensed Windows. There's a lot of things for SCSI drives because I'm running SCSI drives in my computer. I know the M2s are still, well, they're faster, but they had to go to M2s to beat SCSI. SCSI's still faster than any IDE drive. And I have 3 SCSI Barracuda drives that I still run in this computer.
Birdman wants to know if his sub count would go up if he had live shows. He said he needs to earn more fans.
Actually, Birdman, my subscriber count went down when I started doing live shows. I mean, we probably lost, 10?
Yeah.
We probably lost 10 subscribers during the first 3 weeks of doing live. And we didn't gain any subscribers. The problem is anything that you change, Birdman, and YouTube's going to penalize you. It gets used to doing what you do, if that makes sense. If you don't have that many subscribers and you want to do a completely change up, I would just completely change the channel or start a new channel, and whatever changes you feel that your channel needs to take place, start your new channel and come out of the gate with whatever you want to do. If you're going to upload 2 videos a week on this day and this day, do it. Don't change days. Do the exact same day. Don't change your pattern. Maybe do a couple of the shorts. YouTube likes all that stuff. I don't do any shorts, and it's still penalizing me. It is slowed down. Since I slowed down doing actual review videos and doing more live stuff, YouTube is still penalizing me on it. It's just how it works.
Honeytop says
Moon 'em, Birdman.
the
That's Devastator.
the Honeytap weekly live performance is set for every Saturday night at 6 p.m., 2 hours before Avery. First one is this weekend. Link to the upcoming stream is on my channel currently. Says he finally committed to a schedule.
Is this Birdman?
No, it's Honeytap.
Oh, honey tap. Yeah, it's weird how YouTube does it. And, I try to look at other channels too, guys. And when they stream, like Honey Tap just said, he's trying to shift it so it doesn't conflict. It's almost impossible not to conflict with someone's channel. There's so many channels on YouTube. Like we were doing Friday night, so I was setting at 9 after Phil McKnight.
No, you were still at 8.
Um, it was a little later than 8. It was usually 8:15, 8:30 on Fridays before we actually started, because Phil would usually run just a couple minutes past 8. But most of Phil's audience isn't coming to my channel anyway. Um, you have to build your own audience, okay? There's no magic sauce, Birdman. Um, just be you. Don't be anything that you aren't. Just try to treat everyone the same way you'd want to be treated, and be yourself. And as people come along, if they like the channel, they'll subscribe, if that makes sense. This channel has slowed down so much, probably in the last 6 months. Everyone says when you hit the 2,000, it'll pick up a little bit, and then it dies again right around 3,000 to 3,500, and then picks up again, at about 5 or 6. So there's these little ramps YouTube wants you to hit, and when you hit that, it'll give you a little boost. And a lot of that, I think, YouTube does not want to send a small channel out to the masses. And I'm a firm believer, it's not doing that, it's protecting you. If you go back and watch my first video, it's me sitting on a chair here using a GoPro 8, just one camera, and there's no editing. I mean, the editing was horrible. There's no fade screen like watch. I'm going to fade screen. See, there's a fade. See my shirt? Wow, shirt. I'm going to fade back into it. There wasn't that. It just clicked to one, right to the next picture. The audio was bad. Still get some bad audio from time to time. But YouTube spooned me out. Okay, and as I got a little better, it threw my video out a little bit more. So I think if you get a good audio, good video, and your editing is good, and you do professional stuff, your channel will continue to grow. The problem with that is it takes a tremendous amount of time. When I was doing a lot of editing and doing 1.5 hour guitar reviews and doing 2 or 3 a month, the channel grew fast. The problem is I can't devote that much time to YouTube. YouTube doesn't pay the bills. It just doesn't. It's fun. I enjoy coming out and hanging and doing the stuff that I do, but it's not going to be a career for me. And if it is a career, then you got to stop and think about, if they're making a living doing it, they need that company to come back. I hate to say that, but if Kramer contacts me and sends me a guitar, do you think they're going to send me another guitar if I'm brutally honest, if they send me a piece of shit? They're not. I hate to say that. Kramer's like, oh my God, he just slaughtered. Don't send that man another guitar. So when you watch these other channels and they have 40 or 30,000 or 50,000, they're doing reviews, that's their living. So they're not going to cross that line. That's like going to the soup line and then telling everyone that you're a millionaire. They're not going to give you a bowl of soup. That's not what the soup line's there for. Review channels are there for companies to give you an instrument. That's your payment. Okay? They're going to give you that guitar. Everyone thinks that's great. Okay? Now, here's the thing. You can buy these guitars right now, the Berettas, for about $850. Well, I think they're about $900 now, on Sweetwater. Well, the retail on this guitar is probably $1,300, $1,400. So at the end of the year, Kramer's going to send me a 1099 for $1,400. They're not stupid. They're not going to send you a 1099 for what they're selling for. they're going to sell it to you they're going to send you a 1099 based on the retail, the full mark price, so they can write it off. So then you got to pay tax on that. Okay? So $1,400, you're going to pay 30% tax on that. You didn't get the guitar for free, and then it takes you to do the reviews I was doing. It's an hour and a half. It's probably 4 hours of video time and another 20, 25 hours of editing. So if you sell the guitar, you can't sell it as new. You're not a vendor. So you got to sell the guitar for $700. You know, $650, $700. Mint condition, open box. You can get that for them. Okay. Well, you got to pay 30% of the $1,400. So that's going to be $450. You sold the guitar, you got $7 for it. So that means out of what I had to pay in taxes, and when I go to sell the guitar, I may have made $300. That's what I made for working 30 some hours. That's not, I'm sorry, anyone in business, if you're a businessman, that's an awful business model. I mean, that's an awful business model. If you wanted to start a business and someone come up, look at all the money I could make, and I look at that, I go, you're crazy. How are you going to make any money? You're not. So these channels that you see doing that, you all have to keep that with a grain of salt. Everyone wants to be a big channel. Big channel, big channel, big channel. Be happy, Birdman. Be happy, Honey Tap. Be happy, Ted, right where you are. Use a little bit of your own money that you feel comfortable with spending to do honest reviews, build a community, and just stay there. Don't worry about becoming a big channel. I don't want to be like some of the channels that I see on YouTube at 30,000 subscribers. I'm not calling any of the channels out, but I don't want to be that channel. I listen to those channels and I hear the keywords. When I get emails from Gunther and Joe-Yo and they want me to say X, I watch their videos and I hear them say it. They're like little pre-programmed robots and they have to say X so they get paid or they get the free guitar or they get another review. That's not what I'm about. So my suggestion, Birdman, is just be you. Be happy with YouTube and the friends that you've created here. And that's what it is. It's about relationships and community. And be happy. You know, you've got this channel. I've subscribed to your channel. I watch your videos. You know, I watch Honey Tap when I see something that he puts up. I don't watch every video Honey Tap puts out. I mean, I waited the other day for Guitar Church again. So I don't know if he ever did Guitar Church again or not. But I thought that was cool. I think there was only 2 people in there, but that's fine. It doesn't matter if there's one person in there. If 2 people, if the guy that's doing the video and one other person's there and you guys are chatting, that's communication. It's all that it's about. It doesn't matter if there's 100 people, 1,000 or 2. It's about just communicating and sharing ideas and stuff. That's what this channel's about. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love my channel to have more people. But the more people that join the channel, the less I can interact with one specific person like Jupe or Niles, or even take the time right now to communicate directly with you, Birdman. If you think if you made that comment at Felix McKnight's channel, would he respond to it? Probably not. Because there's 1,000 people watching, that comment would have flown right by. He would have never even known you were there. The only reason Phil has answered me the one time was because I met him at Sweetwater, and I sent him he was doing a premiere video, and I sent a direct message at Phil McKnight, and I said something like, thanks for taking the time to talk to me at Sweetwater at Gear Fest. It was great. And he said back, yeah, that was a great time. Need to do it again. But if I would have sent that message on a Friday night to him, I can guarantee, I'd bet $28 million squared he would have never, ever, he wouldn't even have sent me an email. But it's that smaller group. it's more contact between the people, if that makes sense.
Honeytop said he doesn't care if he's a big channel whatsoever. Could not care less. I play guitar because it allows me to commune with the Holy Spirit, nothing more.
Exactly. I mean, I don't want to get. Everyone knows I'm an Adventist. Some people, well, I qualify that because I would say I'm like a Messianic Jew Adventist. That makes no sense at all. But I have some Messianic Jew beliefs. I have some Adventist beliefs, and I have some Yahweh, Church of Yahweh beliefs. And if you mix all that together, I'm somewhere in there. I know what I do sometimes is bad. Even though I try to be a good person, we're supposed to live like Christ. I get that. This is not a sermon, it's just a thought. I fail every day at that. But I try to be a good person. That doesn't mean that I'm a good person every day. I say something to someone at work and I look back on it and go, man, I really shouldn't have said that. I'll say, well, that's wrong. And I'll call them a dum-dum or something with a colorful metaphor in front of it because I'm upset. We're human. So that's the big thing with YouTube. You got to learn to take what people say. I've had bad comments on my channels, and we've had a couple trolls come in here and there. Don't let it get you. You know what I mean? But I'm a firm believer in keeping this channel the way it is, and we haven't taken anything from any vendor that has emailed us. And again, guys, most companies aren't going to email me. One, channels that have 1,000 to 2,000 subs, if they're getting products, you guarantee that they did Gunther and some of these other companies, and they pulled the right strings, and they know that that particular channel is going to do whatever, I don't want to say they're jumping the shark, but they're jumping the shark. If you ever watched Fonzie jumping when the show Jumped the Shark, never. That's showing my age. Once you get that going, you're going to get more turnout for smaller things. I think Yo-Yo, the last thing they sent me, they wanted me to try the little guitar plugged in, the wireless plug-in thing with the headphone, little plug-in wireless guitar amp headphone thing. And I just really had no interest in reviewing a $40 wireless, if that makes sense. I sent them an email back saying, if you want us to review something, send me one of your little mini two beds. And I give him 3 that I would be interested in reviewing for a budget small 2-bed. And they said, well, that's not under promotion right now. So nothing ever worked out. And Gunther never worked out because they wanted licensing for all the video content. They wanted full control over it. And basically, I got a $20 set of tuners, and I was going to work for actually a full day, and then have no rights to it. So, Birdman, I say just do what you're doing. However many subscribers that you have right now, cater to those subscribers. Just cater to what they want. But number one, cater to yourself. What is it that you want to do? Because if you're not into it, everyone's going to see that you're not into it. Really, I've reviewed some things in here and I'm really not. It's like, and it comes across. If you don't like it, what you're doing, or you feel you're doing a disservice, stop what you're doing right there and find something else to do or do content on. Your heart has to be in it. And that's it, man. I really can't. I don't really have anything more to say that I think would help you out. I'm definitely not the person to ask because this channel we're just a fraction under 2,000 subscribers. But with my limited experience being on YouTube now 2 years, I can tell you the first year the channel grew really fast. And this year it grew really slow. And that's just simply because I wasn't pulling the YouTube string anymore.
He said he's about to that's his subscriber.
Yeah, 650 subscribers. I noticed that too in our channel. From basically 650 to about 800, 900, it kind of went up and then it leveled off, and then towards the end of the year it shot up, and we went up to like 12, 1300. Like, we went from 700 to basically 1500 in no time, in like 6 months.
He said he'd like to do live flying copter shows too.
Yeah, I probably hurt myself when I did live because I had no prior experience doing it. My first couple live streams I consider were train wrecks, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm not a professional channel. This isn't how I make my living. I try to share my knowledge with other people, from my CNC programming and my woodworking, and then working on guitars down in the shop here. So I try to bring something to educate people with. You know, working on guitars is a fun thing.
Niles has to go.
Oh, Niles has got to go. It was good having you here, man.
Chemo tomorrow.
Yeah, I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning. So we've actually already been on. This is probably one of our longer Tuesday night streams.
Thursday.
Oh, yeah, Thursday nights. Now, before Jerry even makes a comment, no, Jerry, we are not pushing the 4-hour live stream tonight. No, no, no. Jerry likes these marathon streams where we just get buried and we're talking about this and talking about this, and then we look at the clock and go, oh, come on, it's only 20 more minutes to 12 o'clock midnight. We can make it. It's so funny. But we can't do that tonight. I will never make it tomorrow at the shop doing that. I have a bunch of radius millwork that I need to mill up tomorrow, and I don't have any fixtures made for any of this. And technically, all the radiuses have to be milled tomorrow, and that's not going to happen.
Devastator said we need to set a new record, not match a previous one. And then Jerry said, of course, it's not Saturday.
Oh, okay. Well, then Saturday we'll discuss the 4-hour live on Saturday. I didn't even realize that we had went 4 hours. It was just crazy, crazy. How the time flies.
Penniforth says, really do appreciate you sharing your knowledge. It's been helpful.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I mean, it really is, guys. And I read every comment. I mean, I really do. I might not read it that night, and I'm really slow about getting to emails, but I read every comment.
Ted says, I dig hanging out with you all.
Well, thanks, Ted. I mean, that's what it's about. And that's another thing, Birdman. When you get big, you no longer are reading everyone's comment. You just get to the point and you pray that there's 50,000 comments just so YouTube pushes the video. But there's no one-on-one comment, react to the channel creator. Is that bad? I think once you get to 5, maybe even 100,000, 200,000 subs, the content creator can't do it. To keep that many subs, YouTube really makes you do X. And I just don't want to get to that point. At least not right now. Maybe in a couple years when I actually retire from my other job, maybe YouTube could be a full-time thing. YouTube and servicing guitars. But right now, that's just not me.
Devastator said, don't forget to check for Jerry's Skype.
Oh, yeah. I see we got 4 Skype messages.
I know he sent it.
I sent Mike a message. Yep, I got your email, Jerry. So the next time that we're working on bugs, I'll send you and Devastator an email, and we'll just work things out. I mean, I'm sure you and Devastator have talked a little bit in the chat about it, but we sat and just worked out bugs. It was just a private. And what was funny, the first time we did it, we had 4 likes. And I'm sitting there going, well, who's liking a video they can't join? And how did they even find it since it was posted as private? It was so strange. I ended up going back and deleting all, because we actually did 3 or 4 streams trying to fix things. And then, of course, YouTube's wanting to reload it, and it's private. And it's like, what's it doing? So I just went in and deleted those videos.
Jerry said, would it be bad taste to sand Firefly, etc. off the headstock? There's a bunch of people telling him, nope, sand it off.
I'm assuming burying one of my... Yeah. Like my FFN. Is that guitar still a Firefly? No, it's not. When you resurface all the fret... Sorry guys, been talking a lot. When you basically sand the whole neck and reshape the neck, do a complete level crown and polish, go through all the electronics, completely redo all the bridge, it's no longer a Firefly. There's no aspect of that guitar that you haven't modified and repaired. So I don't think advertising for Firefly on a guitar like that is even credible to them. Because when you hand it to someone, the guitar has been so heavily changed, there's nothing that is there that once was there. It's your guitar. You should put your name on it. Fixing a fret here, fixing a fret there, maybe changing a pickup or changing the springs on your tremolo, that's just normal stuff. People change springs to fit how they want the tremolo to feel. People change strings because they like 9s, they like 10s, or they like, 11s or 8s, And if you run 8s, you're probably going to have to work on the nut, so you change the nut. That's not really the guitar company's fault. But when you get a guitar and you change the tuners because the tuners are and then you redo all the frets because the frets are and you put new electronics on it and you rewire it, you've reshaped, that's no longer a product from that company. You have completely redone that product. Your name should be on it. Did you start with something? Sure, it's still easier than building a guitar, but it's still your guitar. The guitar wouldn't be that way if it wasn't for your intervention. So that's how I feel about it. I'm reading the comments. Don't need to rent a flamethrower. Fill a glass bottle up with gas and styrofoam rag and use and throw a fuse at it.
It's because Honeytop said he's considering burning one of his Fireflies, but he's having a hard time renting the flamethrower.
If you're just trying to do a burnt finish, you can use a heat gun.
No, he was talking about, I think, just...
If you actually just want to burn it, yeah, just put it in your fire pit in the backyard, and maybe get some chocolate, get some marshmallows and some graham crackers, and you can make some s'mores, Firefly s'mores. I mean, you don't want to. That's good heating wood, so you can chop it up and throw it in your wood burner, and heat your house with it. Well, you're in Florida, so you don't need a wood burner. He's right off the beach. Well, I just think, you make a little beach bonfire with your Firefly. All right, guys, I think that's going to do us up for tonight. Like I said, Thursday nights we're going to go over review stuff. Next week we will do a guitar. I just didn't want to do another guitar this week. So next week we'll go back and hit another guitar. I'm going to pick one out and I'll let you guys know on Saturday night which guitar we're going to review. Saturday night's just a hangout. So if you guys want to leave some comments down below, on what you guys want to go over on Saturday night. Last week, I think we went over capacitors, I believe it was, and a bunch of other stuff. Actually, we went over so many different things I can't even remember. It was 4 hours of stuff.
Devastator said pedals pulled ahead in the poll.
Oh, did it? Oh my gosh, let me check the poll out here. pedals is at 48%. Well, hopefully we went over some distortion pedals tonight, and hopefully that gives you guys the gas, as they call. Give you some gas to go out, and I really do like this pedal, guys. I really do. For the money, best bang for the buck if you're doing that kind of distortion. It's quiet, it works well, you can't beat it. And then, of course, the TS9, everyone heard that. Works great as a boost and a light distortion. So, not next Thursday, but the following Thursday, maybe we can go over the delay pedals and chorus pedals. And, I mean, if you just want something cheap for $30, maybe that would be good for that type of review. It's a $30. Where else are you going to get a chorus for $30 or a flanger for $30?
Honey Tap said unbox that Schecter. That box is so big, it must be a V.
Actually, I can't unbox the Schecter, Honey Tap. It came from a colder climate, so it needs to acclimate to the house for at least 2 days. So we are going to unbox Jupe's guitar. That is Jupe 5000's guitar. So we're going to unbox the guitar on Saturday night stream. And we actually might do a little bit of fret leveling on it too. Just kind of take it out and look over the guitar so everyone can see it. And I can just get my first eyes on it. But I don't want to open it up until it acclimates to the house in the box for at least 2 days. Because the box acts as almost like an insulator, okay? So even though we brought it in from the cold on the porch, right in the house, it's not getting hit with the hot air immediately. The box keeps the cooler air in it, and it gradually warms up in the box. And when it does get to room temperature, it's going to gradually get the moisture and balance out. And then when you open up the box, and then it takes, again, a couple more days once it's out of the box to acclimate to the house. But I'll take it out of the box on Saturday.
Honey Tap said go full send, ignore the temperature.
It's not my guitar. It's here to be turned into an awesome machine. So to get that to happen, we need to take care and make sure that we follow proper, practices. That way the guitar acclimates to its new home while the work's getting done. And then when he receives it, I would hope that he would do the exact same thing when he gets the guitar back. Let it set in the house for 2 or 3 days. Take it out of the box. Let it set again for 2 days in the house. Just open, hang it up, and then give the guitar a really good tune. Okay, guys. If you haven't already, please go down and hit the like button for me. And remember, comments, emojis, all that kind of stuff helps YouTube push the video out. Since the channel is doing more live content now, the more help in that department, the better. So the YouTube AI kind of sees the new direction for this channel. So anything like that that you guys could do would be greatly appreciated. All right. Oh, Vox Guitar rocks. Glad I didn't even see you commenting earlier. I've seen you on a bunch of other channels, guy. I'm so glad to see you in the group.
He just commented a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, it's good to see you, brother. All right, guys. I will see you guys Saturday night, and we're going to unbox the Schecter and go over a bunch of other stuff. Thanks for joining in.